Hey, it's Lauren with Bargain Bead Box, and today we are going to make a statement medallion necklace using the January 2025 Dusty Rose collection. I'm really excited. So from the box, you will need your rhodonite pendant, one of your medallion pendants, the chain. We're going to be using our metal beads here, the coin beads. We'll be using the toggle clasps. We'll need 2 of those. Bead caps, the copper crystal rounds, your black tourmaline beads, 6mm faceted rhodonite, and the 8mm rhodonite. We're going to use a little of a lot of different things for this project. And the only items that are not in the box are some very basic findings that I'm using. I'm going to use some tiger tail, and I have wire 5005 from the Bead Box Bargain store. And this is a 0.38 millimeter gold finished wire. You can totally use the silver too, but I kind of like the way the gold looks with the copper better. So that's what I'm using, but you don't see it much, so it really doesn't matter. I like the 0.38 millimeter rather than the 0.45 because we will be doing kind of a double strand thing with it, and I want it to be a little bit on the thinner side. I haven't decided yet which head pin I'm going to use. I have some basic head pins, pin 564, and then I have these decorative head pins, pin 545. You only need one head pin for this project, so I'm just going to play around with it and see which one I like better. I've got some clamshell bead tips in antique copper from the store as well. And we are currently out of the bags of just copper jump rings, so we have a ton more on the way. They're finishing up production. So for now, I grabbed the ring 140. Actually, it's DUP-ring-140. And this is just a mix of colors, but it does have copper in it. These are 5mm jump rings. And I believe we're going to be using like 3 of them. So just some kind of, maybe 4 jump rings. And then I've just got some crimp beads. I'm using antique copper, but it doesn't matter because they're going to be covered up by your clamshell bead tip, so use whatever you have on hand. But these are find 2120 at Bead Box Bargains if you need some. All right, I'm going to lay out all my beads and then we will get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut some tiger tail wire. And I'm going to need 2 pieces, and I'll probably do them about 2 feet long, just because I like to have overage rather than run out of space to work. So we are going to double them over like that. So there's 1 piece. Trim the end off of it. It's a brand new roll, so it's got a little crimped bit at the end. And then I'll cut another piece. And you can absolutely measure if you're the kind of person who takes the time to do those things. I should be probably, but I am not, and that will be fine there. Okay, so I'm going to take one of my pieces of tiger tail here, and I'm going to start by threading on one of my toggle clasp rings. So just the ring, just straight onto my wire in the very middle. And that will kind of be our centerpiece. We're going to be working from the ends here towards the middle. And you can use any kind of beading wire that you like. I personally really like tiger tail wire. It's easy to work with and strong. And these are some heavy beads. So that's why I like to use tiger tail. All right, I'm going to string 1 6mm round on either side. The rhodonite faceted rounds there. And now I'm going to pick 2 8mm rhodonite beads, and there is a ton of variation in these. I don't really have a super preference. I would say look at your pendant because every pendant's different. And you can kind of pick out the ones that complement it nicely. But again, they're not all going to totally match, and that's just the beauty of the natural stone. So these I'll probably put closer to the gemstone itself. I'm also way overthinking this, guys. You can really just grab one and go and throw it on the ground, but I caught it. Haha. Okay, so I'm going to string these on. 1, 2. This is a very simple project, but I feel like it's super effective for how little effort it is, so I like that. Now I'm going to put 1 bead cap on each side. I am usually not a huge fan of just using 1 bead cap on a bead, but in this design it works, and also I'm trying to conserve them slightly because I'm not entirely sure I would have enough, I think, to do both sides of the necklace if I use them both. But these ones, they're just like pointing outwards. The one in the middle has 2 caps, and these are just sort of pointing towards that middle. So that's how I justify it in my brain, so I'm okay with it. Oh, goodness. Now I'm going to do another 6mm rhodonite. Okay, and on each side, I'm going to do a 4mm tourmaline here, and then a tiny little crystal rondelle. So there's that side. Now I'll do it on this side. 4mm and 3mm. And I'm using these small beads because I'm about to put both the strands through the same bead. This is kind of a single or double to single strand type look, which is a really cool look, but if you have beads that are too big in front of that middle bead, it can cause problems. So this is where we are going to just take both ends and thread them through the same metal coin bead. And these have a pretty generous hole size, so it shouldn't be too hard. And just kind of cinch that up there. And it doesn't matter if they don't sit like 10,000% perfectly. It is okay, and I promise you the necklace will look fine. But I do generally try not to cross them if I can. It doesn't matter that much. But I like to keep the left-hand side on the left and the right-hand side on the right, just so it lays nice and looks nice. And I'm going to now do the inverse of that pattern. So we're going to do a tiny crystal rondelle and then a tourmaline on both sides. And then this will be our middle segment. So we will put a bead cap on both sides of that center 8mm round. But first, we'll do 2 of the pink rhodonite, 1 on each side. And you can totally just go down the line and finish one strand, then go down the line and finish the other as well, if you'd rather. I'm just trying to show you how the pattern gets built here. Okay, and now we're going to do a bead cap and a rhodonite round. Maybe I'll do the more tawny rounds for this one. And then another bead cap. And that one's a little tawnier than I like. I don't know. Again, I overthink these things, y'all. This is kind of a nice pinky brown, but it's a little more pink. Yeah, I like that one. And I'll do the other one. And from here, then, we're just going to, again, do the inverse of what we just did here. And go with the raspberry or the rhodonite, I mean. It looks like a raspberry to me. The raspberry rhodonite there. And then our tourmaline. And then our crystal. And we'll do that on the other strand. And then we'll run it through that center bead again. I love patterns that look fancy but are very easy to do. And I feel like this is one of those. Hopefully it looks fancy. It is definitely easy. Okay. And now we're just going to take those strands and run them once more through the same metal bead. Kind of get that settled in there. And there's no point worrying about it being pulled too tight at this juncture because you'll have to mess with that when you go to close off the strand. Anyway, it looks nice. Okay. So now, just to speed things up a little bit, I'll do the entire pattern on each strand. So there we go, crystal, tourmaline, 6mm round. I'm going to use a slightly pinker one. And now I'm going to do a bead cap just on the top, so kind of facing towards the pendant. So bead cap. And now I'm going to pick out the ones that kind of match my pendant a little more because these will be the ones that are closest to it. There we go. Every pendant is different. Yours will look different than mine because it is a natural stone. And I love that. I just grabbed one at random. But if you have more like the brown pink rhodonite, then you can put the more like brown pink 8mm rounds close to your pendant if you would like. Whatever makes you happy. Let's see. I like that one. Okay. Nope, I forgot my 6mm round on this strand. It's sitting right here waiting for me to put it on. There we go. Oh my goodness, I have to constantly pattern check myself. You'd think after 20 years I would be better at this. But you know, the brain does what it does. And we work with what we've got. All right. I said I was going to finish one and then do the other, and I lied. Because I wanted to make sure they look nice next to each other before I did all the rest. But they do. They look fine. So now I'm just going to go back and do the 6, 4, and then 3mm beads here. And then we are ready to finish off this segment. And for that, I'm going to take one of these clamshell bead tips. I'm going to fold it flat and open, like so. And I'm going to string both wires through it. All right, and now I'm going to try to pull it so that these are laying nicely and not too tight. And now I'm going to put both strands through the same crimp bead. And we'll see. I'm going to see if there's enough. Having 2 strands, I think it has enough to hold on to that I don't have to loop it around and back through. But I really like to loop it around and back through just because I feel like it holds better. So I'm going to try that and see if I can stick all 4 of these, run it 3 or 4 times, stick both of them back through. I think I can. The question is, can I do it this far from my face? My eyesight. I always feel like I have good eyesight until I try to do tiny things like this. All right. I think I'm going to have to just do it one at a time. I have done this before with these same crimp beads and the same wire, and it gave me no trouble. There we go. Finally. I know it's possible. Just maybe not worth it today. We'll see. I started it, so now I'm going to finish it. Now it's me against this crimp bead, and I will not lose. Okay. I'm going to pull that crimp down. And this is the part where you got to be careful. You want to keep a balance of not so tight that you cause all the beads to kind of just have a traffic jam all up on each other, But you don't want it so loose that there's a ton of wire showing either. So I'm going to hold, try to keep that crimp bead from traveling down here while I pull this tight. Give it some tension, basically. See if that helps at all. Yeah, I think that's working nicely. I'm making this look way harder than it is, too. I tell you, things feel easy until you're trying to do them down on a bead mat and you can't just hold it up. Okay, so now I'm going to take my crimping pliers and we'll see if I can, I'm just going to give it a little squeeze here. I'm not even going to bother trying to shape this bead because it's got wires sticking out everywhere and it's going to hold well. So I'm actually just going to give it a squeeze then with my chain nose pliers, I think. Just to make extra sure it doesn't go anywhere. It does not look like it's going anywhere. And I don't want to break it, and I'm worried that with that many cords, and if I tried to shape it with the outer notch of my crimping pliers, like I would if I wasn't about to cover it up forever, then it would break. So we're just going to leave it the way it is. I don't think it's going to budge. Now I'm going to be careful and trim my ends close enough to the crimp bead that they won't stick out of the clamshell, but not so close that I accidentally nip that wire I just pulled around and through. And now I'm just going to shut the clamshell over that mess of wire. Now I'm going to give it a little gentle squeeze. Not too hard because I don't want to mark it up, but there we go. And you can definitely, if you want, put some kind of adhesive in it to keep it shut, but I don't generally have a problem not doing that. And I'm not the kind of person to do things I don't feel I need to, but there's definitely nothing wrong with doing that. So there's one segment. We're just going to go ahead and make another segment exactly like this. So I'm going to take my other wire, string on that other clasp half. And again, we're using rings. These are going to be kind of a decorative element as well as functional. So, and then I'm just going to go ahead and start stringing my pattern, I guess. So 6mm, and then I'm going to get a couple more. I'm just going to go ahead and dump this whole 8mm rhodonite strand so I have more to pick from, so I can agonize even more over which beads I pick. Yay! Here we go. Ooh, this is a nice bright pink one. I like that. And we will do bead cap, 6mm bead. Getting these all kind of mixed up here. 4mm bead. And then 3mm bead. And we will do the same thing on the other side. Oh, it has been so cold here lately. I haven't been doing my nails because they tend to be brittle in this dry, cold weather. So I'm trying to protect them and put on a ton of cuticle oil, and I'm really not the kind of person who typically makes a fuss about my nails. I just get self-conscious doing all these video close-ups on them. So one day, I have not given up pretty manicures, but for now, I'm just trying to keep my nails healthy and strong. And we'll do more pretty nail art later. It has been so cold, though. At least for Tennessee. Single-digit weather is weird in Tennessee. We're just not built for it here. And neither are our roads or infrastructure or houses or any of it. So, okay, so now we're just running both of those strands through that center bead. And now we'll do the pattern with the bead cap on both sides. So again, starting with that 3mm crystal bead, going up to the tourmaline. I love that faceted black tourmaline. It is so very pretty. And now pink rhodonite. And I guess I used the really pink rhodonite around the middle on this one here. So that's what I'm going to do here as well. You get some of those, again, like raspberry pink tones. There we go. And bead caps on both sides of the 8mm this time. And we did more of those tawny pink beads. So let me get a couple of those. Alright, so 8mm bead, other bead cap, rhodonite, 4mm, and then 3mm. And this side is done. So this is a really fun, easy project. I like stringing. It goes so quickly, and it's just such instant gratification. It makes me happy. So more bead caps, and then that last raspberry pink rhodonite, and we're just about done with our center segment here. And I will check my pattern just to make sure. Looks good. And then again, we're just going to string both sides through that center coin bead. And now we've just got to make this last one. And that's the one where we picked beads that kind of match that center pendant a little bit. And just see what I have that I feel like matches well. Yeah, I like that. Okay. And here we go. 3mm, 4mm, 6mm. Let's see, we've got some of the lighter pink tones. And again, with gemstones, you really do not have to be matchy-matchy. The beautiful variation is what makes them great. And now we've got the cap on top of, actually that one's got a lot of brown on it. I think I'm going to go with this one. I say as I, again, let's do as I say, not as I do type moment. My point is that I'm really overthinking this, as in many areas of my life, if I'm being honest. Okay, and then a 3mm. All right, and here we go again. One of the reasons I like tiger tail is that I've really never had the tiger tail wire break on me. It's so sturdy. You have to be careful, again, with your crimp beads. That can be a point of failure, but the wire itself is just so strong and durable. And being stainless steel, it doesn't tarnish. I hate it when I make a fancy project and my wire tarnishes. So I've been asked in comments before why I recommend tiger tail, and that's why I like it. Also, it's what I'm familiar with. I'm a child of the 90s when I started beading in the early aughts. It was the thing, and I like it. I'm comfortable with it. It's easy to find. It's not expensive, so I use it a lot. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm going to take that second clamshell tip, and they start out kind of like that. I'm just going to lay it flat, open it up, and stick both my wires through it. And we'll see if I do a better job of running all 4 wires through the crimp bead here. Again, it's probably overkill to loop them around and back through. It is, however, very secure. In this case, it's a thing that I like to do because when you're using heavy gemstones, it does help. This time I varied my ends a little bit and stuck one through first, and that was much easier. And see, that's how easy it should have been earlier. But sometimes, some days, things just take 5 times as long as they should. It's the weather, I'm sure. Okay. So again, I'm going to try to keep that crimp bead from traveling forward as I pull. Keep some tension there. I'm not squeezing with these. I'm just keeping them there or holding that bead in place. And we'll see. How does that look? That looks pretty good. I think that looks good. Okay, so pull that tight. And we'll give it a crimp. A little tighter. Still got a loop. There we go. That looks pretty good. Give it a crimp with that inner notch here. And again, I am not going to worry about shaping it with the outer notch. And I'm also going to give it a squeeze with my chain nose pliers, just to really, really squish it. But again, try not to break it. Okay, now I'm going to trim with my wire cutters. I have to say, I think I got these from, I don't know, a tool store or something for like $1. They're amazing, and I don't worry about ruining nice, expensive wire cutters. They're just, I've had them for years, and they get it done. All right, shedding that clamshell bead tip. And now we've done all the beadwork needed for this necklace. Well, I say that, we still have to make a little dangle for the centerpiece, but we'll get to that. So for now, I'm going to push my beads back up here together. They're traveling down my mat. And now we're going to start assembling it. And I'm going to start by taking our pendant and flipping it upside down. I'm going to remove this pinch bail. I'm just going to pinch it in a little bit. If you can see that, I'm going to pinch it in a little bit to widen that gap and just slide it right off. Because for this piece, I'm actually going to invert the pendant and use that loop at the bottom to add another medallion. So I'm going to actually attach these up here. And you can, if you want, you can see there's a little tiny hole right there between the rhodonite and the swirl. So if you don't want your pendant to move around, if you want them to stay exactly in the same place, you can put it through that hole. I want mine to kind of be able to travel a little bit depending on whether I'm wearing it as like a choker or a long necklace, because I'm going to show you how to get that flexibility here at the end. So I'm just going to attach it to this big open part here at this swirl. And I'm going to do that with a jump ring. Take my little jump ring opener tool, which saves my wrist so much. I'm just going to hold the jump ring in my chain nose pliers and swing it open. And then I will thread it through my bead tip and through the hole there in the wire, or the pendant, I mean. And we'll just swing it shut. And I will repeat this with our other side. There we go. Just gonna, again, catch it in that big open part there. Add the jewelry chain, or the beaded segment anyway, and there we go. Okay, so now this can move up and down a little bit, so depending on how you wear it, it can just go at different angles, and I kind of like that. I like the motion, but again, if that drives you crazy, you can just put it through these little holes right on either side of the rhodonite if you prefer. Now, this is a very dramatic pendant. We're going to add one of these medallion pendants underneath it for extra drama. But I'm not going to worry about doing the jump ring yet, because I'm also going to put a little simple beaded dangle over top of it. All the drama, guys. And I'm going to try one of these fancy head pins. We'll see how it looks. Yeah. And if I don't like it, I've got my regular old head pin here too. You only need one head pin for this project, so I think we'll try making it a fancy one, see how that works out. But it'll be absolutely fine to just use a regular head pin if that's what you got, or a ball head pin, or whatever you want to do. Okay, so for the little dangle, I think I'm going to use a bead cap and a rhodonite, and let me find a nice one that I like, that I think goes well with our focal. Ooh, I love that one. That one's perfect. So I'm going to do the rhodonite. Let's see. That's a little fancy. I kind of like that. It echoes the beaded pattern there. And then the head pin, the bead cap. And then maybe a 6mm rhodonite and black tourmaline. If that'll go. Oh, the tourmaline might not fit on this big head pin. Yeah. Do I need a black tourmaline? What about this? Will this fit? Maybe? Yeah, no. So I could just do it like that. I think that would be fine. Or I could do it just on the regular head pin. Look how decisive I am today, guys. Doing so well at making decisions here. But I just want to see what it looks like. And this, then, because I'm pretty sure that I can convince the tourmaline to go onto this head pin. I just need a different tourmaline. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, I do like it with the black in it. I might just stick with my regular all head pin for now then. This one's nice, but it's so thick I can't get that pendant, or that bead on it. Okay. And I am just going to grab my round nose pliers here. I'm going to trim that down. And it's going to go flying across the room. My vacuum will find it and complain later. And then I'm just going to rotate away from me. Grab to make a little like hook. There. Grab the bottom. Bend it back towards me. So now it looks like that. And be a little careful not to damage your tourmaline, because I'm worried I might have just done that. This is fine. Now we'll just bend it back down into a little hook. I'm gonna blow on my tourmaline, make sure I didn't, yeah, I powdered a teeny tiny little chippy bit at the top, but it's fine. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, and now, I always do that. I'm going to be careful with little tiny gemstones at the top, but it'll be alright. It doesn't actually look correct. And then I'm going to take my last jump ring, well, not last jump ring, I have one more. My third jump ring. And I'm going to put that dangle in front of the medallion and then connect it to the pendant using that loop. Close that up. And there we go. Look at that. so fancy. We've got a very dramatic double medallion pendant here with a little beaded dangle as well. I love it. Okay, so at this point, all we need to do is finish the back. And there's lots of ways you can do that, but that is probably not a surprise if you've watched me make other necklaces. I'm a big fan of chain in the back. And with this particular necklace, I might make 2 chains so I can interchange them and vary the length. I can pick which length I want it that way. Because sometimes I like to wear a bold necklace like this as like a above the neckline piece. And sometimes I'm wearing like a high neck dress, or I just want a sweater and I really want it to be long and dramatic. So I'm going to make 2 different length chain segments that can be swapped. And this will use most of the chain, but also if you change your mind and you want to use it for something else later, it's literally just undoing 1 jump ring. I guess I will need 1 more jump ring if I want to make 2 chain segments. I didn't think that part through. So 5, guys, 5 jump rings. Not 4 there. There we go. Okay, so this chain that is with the box, it looks like it's soldered shut. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably just cut a link anyway. I'm going to double the chain up. And I want a short one that's like about this long. So I'll do that first. Again, you can totally measure just however much length you want to add, multiply that by 2, cut a chain that long. I tend to eyeball things. So, gonna cut that length off. And now, all I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my jump ring, open it up, and put both ends of this chain through, along with my toggle. And then close that jump ring. And all you have to do is, let's see, I'm right-handed, so I like the toggle part to be on the left. So on the right side, I'm just going to pull this doubled up chain through, and with this loop, I'm just going to tuck the toggle end back through it and pull it tight. So you get this nice like little wrapped chain bit around that round, and then you just come over here and stick the toggle through the other loop, and ta-da, your necklace is done. You've got this back here and a fantastic pendant. But if you decide you want it to be longer and more dramatic, you just take the rest of that chain and do the same thing. It's basically instant. You just grab that jump ring, open it up, because I mean this is just a leftover piece anyway, since we used two of the round toggles in the design. Attach both your ends of the chain as well as the loop of that toggle bar. And now you've got a longer chain you can easily swap to vary the length. And so all you do there is kind of tug on the end of this chain, unloop it, pull it off, and add the center, just kind of like find the middle, tuck this through, pull that tight, and look, now your necklace is much longer. So, yeah. And you can, oops, there we go. You can change up that ratio, decide how long you want it, but it's really, really up to you. And it's really easy to swap. So that is all there is to today's tutorial. It's a really simple but dramatic necklace with 2 adjustable lengths. And you can vary them and make this one shorter, this one longer, whatever you want to do. It just adds a bunch of options. And if you ever decide, hey, this is a lot of chain, I want to use it for something else, all you have to do is open one jump ring and you can undo it easily. So, all right, well, that's it. That is my double medallion Dusty Rose necklace. thank you so much for watching, for hanging out with me. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you've enjoyed this box. If you are a current member, you received all of the beads in the Dusty Rose collection for $22.99 with free shipping in the USA. If you are not a member, we do still have a few extra Dusty Rose collections available at our sister store, beadboxbargains.com, for $32.99, which is still an amazing value because you get over $80 worth of stuff. We source closeouts and overstocks and to bring you the best value we can. And if you're not already a member and you'd like to receive future collections at that discounted $22.99 price, you can sign up on our website, bargainbeadbox.com. Now, we close each shipment on the 10th of the month. That's our official shipping date. So if you join now, your first shipment will be by February 10th. And you won't start with this box, you'll start with February's. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you so much to all of our members who make this possible. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And as always, happy beading. Stay warm, y'all.